Hello guys, welcome to episode number 4 of the Lean Women project. If you're watching on the video rather than listening, then you'll notice that I'm back in the gym today. Back at work yesterday. It's good to be back, getting some clients trained, people working towards their 2018 goals. It's good to be back, but just cold in here, freezing. So yeah, change of scenery for anybody watching today. So I've been talking a lot on this podcast so far about making sure you stick to your program. Like I've said before, it's the big January thing. People go too big way too soon and then they don't end up sticking to the program. And that's when they see the lack of results, and eventually if they do fall off the program, then if they've lost weight they'll get it back, whatever. I spoke about on the last couple. So I want to speak a little bit on your adherence to the program, and this is something that people don't really tend to get that much. People don't tend to understand. Like, you can have the best programming in the world. You can bypass me. You can go to whoever the top strength coach in the world, the top weight loss coach in the whole world, and get them to write you a program. You can go to the best nutritionist in the world and get them to literally plan out point by point all the foods that you should eat for a whole 8 weeks, 12 weeks, the rest of your life, whatever. But that you can then go and train at the best gym in the world, best equipment, whatever, all of this, but it doesn't matter if you're not sticking to the program. Like, if you're not there, if you're not turning up, it doesn't matter how good your programming is. If you're skipping meals or eating other foods, it doesn't matter how good the programming is if you're not adhering to it. Does it make sense? Like, I was just used this as an example with a client because we were just talking about Andy Murray, tennis. I think he's just pulled out of a tournament, Australia. I don't know, I don't really follow tennis, but a client was talking about it there. Anyway, Andy Murray's got a good team. He's genetically very talented, but he's got a good team, good coaches. Like, his mum's there, she's really supportive, pushing him on. But none of that would actually matter if he didn't show up. Like, he's still got to show up every day. He's got to train. He's got to be there. Like, he wouldn't be one of the best, or maybe the best tennis player in the world if he didn't show up to training. He's got to adhere to his program. He's got to stick to it. Now, it's easy enough for me to just say, well, you've got to stick to your training and you've got to make sure you're eating right. But obviously then it's more difficult for you to actually follow through with and do. So what I would say is, number one, make sure the program is possible. You can actually stick to it. People, I think, like I said before, people go too big too soon, and they're planning to go from no gym days a week, no workouts a week, to 5 a week. So this is quite a big jump. It's quite a lot of commitment. If you're maybe going Monday to Friday, that's every evening or every morning you're going to hit the gym. Where maybe your better starting point is, right, I'm going to go twice a week, every week, and I'm going to stick to that, and I'm going to adhere to it. Same with your food. People are just trying to make the changes too big. Make those smaller changes. They're much easier sustainable. If you're not eating healthy at all just now, and you try and change your diet to a 100% clean diet, then that's going to be very difficult to do. That's a big change. And you're like, oh well, I'm going to cut out alcohol, I'm going to cut out coffee, I'm going to cut out sugars, and then you're just eating chicken and broccoli 5 times a day. If you can stick to that for more than a week, I'll be impressed. So you're going to be much better making smaller, more sustainable changes that then become a habit, rather than overhauling your whole diet or whole training routine overnight. So make the smaller changes. They become sustainable. They're a lot easier to manage. A big change is, if you make a big change, this is the thing, this is where people get drawn in. If you make a big change, then you're going to see a bigger result, yes, but it's going to be very short-lived if you can't stick to the change. If you make a small change, you can stick to it, then in the long run, the change is a lot more beneficial and the results are a lot better. So find a program that works for you when it comes to training, when it comes to nutrition as well, run your own diet. What works for someone else might not work for you. There's 2 completely different bodies, 2 completely different schedules. You've got to remember, a lot of people, I know, they go into the gym and they'll follow footballers' training plans or movie stars' training plans, bikini athletes' training plans. You've got to remember that that training plan, they don't have to work that around their lifestyle. That is their lifestyle. That's their job. Is to do that. That's literally part of their job. Like if you go and watch, if you go and follow a movie stars training program that they've done, they always release ones when they like go into a big film and get really lean or whatever. They're like, oh, this is a training program for the film. You're like, yeah, but that was all he was. Of course, he was like filming as well, or she was filming as well, but that's part of their job. Their job has been to get lean for that. They don't work a 9 to 5. They don't have, you know, they've got a nanny that looks after their kids or whatever. Like, you've got to remember that you're completely different to this person. And again, that even goes the same if your mate comes in and goes, oh, I did this and it worked really well. Yeah, it might have worked well for them, but you're also a completely different person to them. They might be like a couple of inches shorter than you, might be 20 kilos heavier than you. You don't know. Like you're two different people. So just because something has worked well for one person doesn't mean it's going to work well for another person. You've got to find a training program and a sort of diet or whatever that's going to work well around your goals, well around your lifestyle. So it's worth thinking about. Again, my main point is just making sure you can stick to it. I got clients that come in and they're like, right, I think new year I'm going to try and hit it 4 times a week, hit the gym 4 times a week. I'm like, well, how about, and then they'll hit it 4 times one week, 4 times the next week, and then once the next week, and then 3 times, and then twice. I'm like, how about you just aim for, if you can commit 3 times every week, every single week, like you don't miss that. Rather than coming 4 one week, none the next, 4 the next, like just 3 every week. Be as consistent as possible as you can with everything. And that's going to make the biggest difference. There's no point aiming too big and then like just falling off it and fucking it up basically. That's not me trying to put you off making bigger changes in the future. I would just start small and build it up from there. It's going to be a lot easier for you to stick to. Also, the last point I had written down for this is what I don't know if this is the actual name for it, but like shiny object syndrome. I think I've spoken about it on a podcast before, where people will jump on a program or whatever, and then after 2 weeks, like you can expect to see some results on a program after 2 weeks, but if it's an 8-week program, 10, 12, whatever, 10-week program, you'll see the full benefit of it after 10 weeks, and people stick on it for 2 weeks, and then somebody goes, oh, I'm trying this, and they jump from this one to that one. So then they've only worked through this program for 2 weeks, it's not really kicked off, and then they're on another one, and they start working through that for 2 weeks, and then they jump to another thing, and another thing, and another thing, and another, and I'm like, you're only getting 2 weeks on each program, whereas if you run 2 weeks of 5 different programs, you're not going to see as good results if you run 10 weeks of one. Like stick to something, be consistent. It really doesn't matter too much what you're doing, to be honest with you, as long as what you're doing you're being consistent with and you're sticking to it. It's like anything else in life, you know. If you are taking driving lessons and you take a lesson every week for 8 weeks and then you don't do another one for a year, you're essentially starting again. Or if you're going from a different driving instructor for all of those 8 weeks, like 8 different driving instructors each week, you're going to see a lot of different progression than if you just go to the one and stay there for the full 8 weeks or 10 weeks or whatever, you know. Like I hope what I'm saying makes sense here. But really, what I'm trying to say is set small changes and just be as consistent as possible, and you're going to see the best results there. Okay, cool. I'm going to go and maybe record another one of these, and then I've got clients in. So I will speak to you soon. Goodbye.